Hello everyone, and welcome to our video series, A Timeline of World Cinema. I'm Bradley Weatherholt, and I will be your host on this journey through the history of film. In this episode, we will discuss contemporary cinema and the impact of modern technology on it. We will also discuss the growing reliance on blockbusters, sequels, and remakes. Now, because we live in this period, it's a difficult era to define. However, one thing is certain: the consolidation of major studios by media conglomerates forever changed the world of cinema. Under a strategy of diversification, the technology firm Sony purchased Columbia, and media company News Corp bought 20th Century Fox. In 1989, Time and Warner consolidated for $20 billion, and with a renewed interest, Hollywood sought to concentrate the power and profit of the global marketplace under the American studio control. Most name the 1930s and the 1940s as the peak of Hollywood's international footprint. But the last 20 years stand as an era when Hollywood amassed an international presence, superiority in mass media, and profit returns unparalleled in its history. According to recent numbers from the MPAA, 70% of box office revenues come from international markets. To achieve this, Hollywood spends more time and energy in marketing to international audiences. In fact, studios now consider the influence on foreign markets over domestic markets when determining which projects to greenlight. Scripts rely on less nuanced dialogue so as not to confuse a non-English speaking country, and narratives involve safer plots for fear of offending other cultures. Unlike the bold, risky adaptations of the Golden Age, Hollywood now relies on already established franchises. Blockbusters now depend on everything from comic book superheroes to preteen novels to bring in predictable profits. Although Hollywood still produces some films for the shrinking family audience, particularly animation films, the vast majority of films are principally designed for young adult audiences. Take for instance the 13 Harry Potter and Twilight films. To continue to impress this demographic, Hollywood escalates the level of sex and violence in each picture. Blockbusters shy away from realism in favor of racy, exciting characters who can do all the things basic TV cannot show. By now, TV and movie theater markets are mutually dependent. A majority of revenue earned by over half of films produced now comes from the secondary markets of TV and video. The argument can be made that seeing film on the small screen does not constitute a cinematic experience. Cinema at its purest relies on the theater experience, even in the increasingly complex world of multimedia. Neither video nor television could self-sufficiently market a feature-length film. Only theatrical distribution can sustain the business model. Studios realize this and continue to draw audiences to the theaters. In the last few decades, global film has grown exponentially. European productions by directors such as Michael Haneke and Lars von Trier push the artistic boundaries of cinema. In Latin America, director Guillermo del Toro fantasizes worlds of color and horror, while Alfonso Cuarón uses his films as a platform for philosophical investigation. Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki produced the best animation film since Walt Disney. Taiwanese director Edward Yang's Yi Yi heralded a series of Asian art house dramas. Thai director Apichatpong Weerasethakul, who cinemaphiles endearingly call Joe, has had a prolific career, spanning several acclaimed films, which are highly innovative in their narrative and their structure. However, one film, Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love, serves as the movement's most celebrated film.
In the Mood for Love is probably the most and least aptly named movie. On one end, the title perfectly describes the film, from the soundtrack motif to the lush colorscape. The entire movie is mood. At the opposing end, not much love happens, or in the very least, not much is consummated. When two married couples move into a Hong Kong apartment in 1962, an affair takes place. Rather than follow the husband-wife portion committing the affair, the film involves the faithful half, as they meet to discuss the pain they feel from their unfaithful spouses. The sexual tension is palpable, but rather than settle for the obvious, Wong Kar-wai doesn't allow the couple any relief. Like so much in the film, the narrative goes against convention. In a time where audiences demand either violent or sexual fulfillment from their protagonists, In the Mood for Love strays from both. The result is not only a beautiful film, but one which is truly authentic. One that, like life, is ambiguous and riddled with questions.
In the Mood for Love, like most artistic developments after the 1970s, happened outside of the mainstream. For the most part, the changes in world cinema since 1945 have happened gradually. However, occasionally an event transpires that revolutionizes the industry. Sound, the studio system, and television all belong to these revolutions, and now a new one, the birth of digital cinema, revolutionizes what is possible with cinema. Film purists such as Quentin Tarantino refused to adopt video cameras, but now digital photography is the standard. Many love digital for the cost-saving measures, but is cinema really getting cheaper? It's easy to forget that most of the costs associated with movie budgeting is not related to camera technology at all. SAG wages don't change with digital productions, nor do the cost of food or locations, and makeup, labor, and almost every other aspect of cinema production remain the same regardless of the capturing medium. In fact, some digital technologies such as 3D actually increase production costs. Another misconception of digital is that it somehow heralds the beginning of the end of cinema. To say cinema is dying, or in a state of decline since the 1940s, is to define cinema only in terms of the golden age of Hollywood. It is to arbitrarily limit cinema to one period of history. One might as soon say that painting died with the Renaissance. One could just as soon say cinema died with the birth of a nation, given that their definition of cinema was that of the theater of attractions. Instead of limiting cinema to one interpretation, why not define cinema as an ever-changing art? If one chooses to see cinema as an evolving medium that has survived the birth of sound, the revolution of color, the censorships of government, the rise of television, and much more, one will see that cinema is far from dying. It is alive and changing, and will continue to thrive, even in the coming century with the concerns of digital filmmaking and the internet.
With the release of Sex Lies in videotape. Sex Lies in videotape. Sex Lies, okay.